The words still echoed in my head as I sat in my car outside my childhood home, watching the warm glow from the dining room windows. Christmas Eve 2023. The night that changed everything. I'd driven 3 hours through a snowstorm to be there, carrying carefully wrapped presents and Mom's favorite apple pie from the bakery downtown. 28 years old, and I still felt like that hopeful little girl who just wanted her family to love her. Inside, the scene was picture perfect. Mom had outdone herself with the decorations. Twinkling lights, silver and gold ornaments. The massive Douglas fir Dad always insisted on cutting down himself. My older brother Marcus sat at the head of the table with his wife Jennifer and their twin boys. My sister Victoria was there with her fiancé David, showing off her new engagement ring. And then there was me. Always the odd one out. "Sarah's here," I announced, setting the pie on the counter. "Oh," Mom said without looking up from carving the turkey. "I didn't set you a place. I wasn't sure you'd actually show." Marcus snorted. "She always shows up where she's not wanted." I forced a smile and grabbed a chair from the kitchen. "No problem, I'll squeeze in." Dinner started well enough. The boys were excited about Santa coming, Jennifer complimented Mom's cooking, and David shared funny stories from his law firm. I listened quietly, jumping in when I could but mostly feeling invisible. Then Marcus brought up his promotion. "Senior Vice President of Operations," he announced proudly. "With a corner office and everything. We're so proud of you, honey," Mom beamed, raising her wine glass. "You've always been our achiever." Victoria cleared her throat. "Actually, I have news too. David and I set the wedding date, June 15th at the Riverside Country Club. We're thinking a summer garden theme." The table erupted in excitement. Mom immediately started planning. Dad discussed the guest list and everyone began talking about flowers and venues and honeymoon destinations. "That's wonderful," I said, genuinely happy for my sister. "I'd love to help however I can." Victoria's smile faltered slightly. "Well, we're keeping it pretty intimate. Family and close friends only." "Of course," I nodded. "I'm family." An uncomfortable silence fell over the table. David coughed. "The thing is, Sarah, we're trying to keep costs reasonable, and with my firm's partners coming, plus Victoria's sorority sisters." "What David's trying to say," Victoria interrupted, "is that we need to be selective about the guest list." The implication hit me like a physical blow. My own sister's wedding and I wasn't invited. "I see," I said quietly. Mom set down her wine glass. "Sweetheart, you have to understand. This is Victoria's special day. She wants everything to be perfect." "And what exactly would be imperfect about me being there?" Marcus leaned back in his chair. "Come on, Sarah. You know how you are." "How am I?" "Dramatic. Emotional. Remember Victoria's graduation party when you had that meltdown about not getting into law school?" I was upset. "You made everything about you," Jennifer added, bouncing one of the twins on her knee. "Victoria deserves her moment to shine." I looked around the table at these people I'd called family my entire life. "So I'm not invited to my sister's wedding because you think I'll, what? Ruin it somehow?" "It's not personal," Victoria said, though she couldn't meet my eyes. "How is this not personal?" Dad finally spoke up. "Sarah, you're being unreasonable. This is their decision to make." I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. "Fine. I understand you want a small wedding. But maybe we could do something else. A bachelorette party or help with planning or—" "Honestly," Mom interrupted, setting down her fork with force, "this is exactly what we're talking about. You can't just accept things as they are. You always have to push and make demands." "I'm not making demands. I'm trying to find a way to be part of my sister's life." "By inserting yourself where you're not wanted?" Marcus shot back. The words hung in the air like smoke. "Not wanted," there was finally said out loud. "I didn't realize my presence was such a burden," I said quietly. Mom's face was flushing red, the way it always did when she drank too much wine. "You know what, Sarah? I'm tired of walking on eggshells around you. We're all tired of it." "Walking on eggshells?" "Yes. Every family gathering we have to worry about your feelings. Make sure you're included. Make sure you don't feel left out. We can't just enjoy ourselves because you're always there needing attention." My chest felt tight. "I don't need attention. I just want to be part of this family." "Well, maybe," Mom said, her voice rising, "just maybe that's the problem. Maybe we'd all be happier if we didn't have to pretend anymore." The room went completely silent. Even the twins stopped babbling. "What are you saying?" I whispered. Mom stood up abruptly, swaying slightly. "You want to know the truth? Fine. Here's the truth. Every holiday, every birthday, every family event, we dread having you there. You're needy, you're clingy, and you suck the joy out of everything." "Mom," Victoria started. But Mom was on a roll now, 28 years of resentment pouring out. "Do you know what it's like having a child who disappoints you at every turn? Who never quite measures up? Who always needs something?" I felt like I was drowning. "I don't understand. What did I do wrong?" "What didn't you do wrong?" Mom laughed bitterly. "Average grades, no real career, no husband, no kids. You're 28 years old, and what do you have to show for it? Nothing." Each word was a knife. "I have my accounting practice. I just started." "Oh please, your little bookkeeping business? That's not a real career, Sarah. That's something people do on the side." Dad reached for Mom's arm. "Linda, maybe you should." "No, Robert. She needs to hear this. We've been too nice for too long." Mom turned back to me, her eyes cold and hard. "You know what I think about every Christmas when I see you walk through that door? I think about how different our lives would be. How much happier we'd all be." The room was spinning. "Mom, please. You want to know what the best Christmas gift would be?" She raised her wine glass like she was making a toast. "You leaving my life. Permanently. I wish." Her voice caught for just a moment, then hardened again. "I wish you were never born." The silence that followed was deafening. Even the grandfather clock in the hallway seemed to stop ticking. I stared at my mother. This woman who'd given birth to me, raised me, tucked me in at night when I was small, and saw nothing but disgust in her eyes. Marcus cleared his throat uncomfortably. "Mom, maybe you should." "It needed to be said," Mom replied, sitting back down. "I'm tired of pretending." I looked around the table one more time. Victoria was staring at her plate. Jennifer was suddenly very interested in wiping the twins' faces. David was checking his phone. Dad was refilling his wine glass. Nobody defended me. Nobody said she'd gone too far. Nobody even looked at me. I stood up slowly, my legs feeling like water. Okay. "Okay, what?" Mom asked. "Hey. I'll give you what you want." I walked to the coat closet, grabbed my jacket, and headed for the door. "Sarah, wait," Victoria called out, but I was already outside. The cold air hit my face like a slap. I got in my car and drove away from that house, away from those people, away from everything I'd thought was my life. But I didn't go home. Instead, I drove to the all-night diner on Route 9 and sat in a corner booth until sunrise, thinking about what Mom had said. About how they'd all be happier without me. Maybe she was right. Maybe they would be. So I decided to find out. The next morning, I woke up in my apartment with a clarity I'd never felt before. If my family wanted me gone, I'd give them exactly what they asked for. But I wasn't going to do it halfway. I was going to disappear completely. First, I called my accountant. Not my little bookkeeping business, but my actual accountant who managed my real finances. See, what my family didn't know was that their failure daughter had been very, very busy over the past 5 years. "Michael, it's Sarah. I need to liquidate everything. The Portland properties, the Denver apartment complex, the tech stocks, all of it." "All of it? Sarah, your portfolio is worth nearly $12 million. Are you sure?" "I'm sure. I want it converted to cash and moved to the accounts we discussed." "How long will it take?" "Maybe 2 weeks for everything to process." "Can I ask what this is about?" "I'm starting over. Clean slate." Next, I called my property manager. "Jenny, I need you to list my apartment. I want it sold quickly, even if we have to take less than market value." Then I called the post office and arranged for all my mail to be forwarded to a P.O. box in a different state. I contacted my clients and transferred their accounts to another accounting firm. I closed my local bank accounts and credit cards. Within 10 days, I had erased every trace of Sarah Morrison from Portland, Oregon. But the hardest part was yet to come. I sat at my kitchen table with a piece of paper and wrote a single sentence. "You got your wish. I'm giving you the gift you wanted." I mailed copies to Mom, Dad, Marcus, and Victoria. Then I turned off my phone, packed 2 suitcases, and drove to the airport. By February 1st, I was Sarah Bennett, my grandmother's maiden name, living in a small coastal town in North Carolina. I rented a cottage near the beach and spent my days walking on the sand, reading books, and slowly figuring out who I was when I wasn't trying to earn love from people who didn't want to give it. It was peaceful. For the first time in my adult life, I woke up each morning without that knot of anxiety in my stomach, wondering if today would be the day I finally disappointed someone I cared about. I started freelance consulting work helping small businesses with their books. Nothing fancy, nothing that would show up in any searches. Just quiet, steady work that paid the bills and left me time to heal. Months passed. I didn't check social media. I didn't Google my family's names. I didn't even think about them most days. Until my phone rang on a Tuesday morning in March. The number was local, so I answered. Hello. Is this Sarah Bennett? Who's asking? This is Margaret Walsh from Cape Fear Regional Medical Center. I'm trying to locate the next of kin for Linda Morrison. She was brought in last night after a car accident. My blood turned to ice. I'm sorry, I think you have the wrong number. Are you related to Linda Morrison from Portland, Oregon? Her insurance card lists you as her emergency contact. Of course it did. I'd been everyone's emergency contact for years, handling their medical appointments, insurance claims, and paperwork. The responsible one. The one who took care of everyone else. What happened? Mrs. Morrison was in a serious accident. She's stable, but she's asking for you. Her husband and other children are here, but she keeps saying she needs Sarah. Are you Sarah? I closed my eyes. 3 months of peace, and with one phone call it all came crashing back. I'm sorry, I said. I can't help you. But she's your mother. I hung up. The phone rang again immediately. This time it was a number I recognized. Dad's cell phone. I let it go to voicemail. Then Marcus called. Then Victoria. I turned off my phone and went for a walk on the beach. When I came back an hour later, I had 17 missed calls and a dozen voicemail messages. Against my better judgment, I listened to the first one. Sarah, it's Dad. I know things were said at Christmas that shouldn't have been said. But Mom's in the hospital and she's asking for you. He needs you. We all need you. Please call me back. The second message was from Marcus, his voice shaking. Sarah, where the hell are you? Mom's hurt and she keeps asking for you. I called your apartment and some stranger answered saying you moved. Your phone's been disconnected. What's going on? Call me. Victoria's message was barely coherent through her tears. Sarah, please, I'm begging you. I know I hurt you. I know we all hurt you. But Mom might not make it and she's asking for you over and over. She says she needs to tell you something. Please call me back. I sat on my couch staring at my phone, feeling that familiar pull. The desperate need to fix things, to be there for people who had made it clear they didn't want me there. But then I remembered Mom's face on Christmas Eve. The disgust in her eyes. The way she'd said she wished I was never born. They wanted me gone. I'd given them what they wanted. So why were they calling? I turned my phone back off and made myself dinner. 3 days later the calls stopped coming. I figured that meant either Mom had recovered or she hadn't and they'd given up trying to find me. I went back to my quiet life, helping Mrs. Patterson with her bakery's books and organizing the monthly financial reports for the local marina. Simple work. Peaceful work. But late at night I'd lie awake wondering what had happened. Wondering if Mom was okay. Wondering what she'd wanted to tell me. 2 weeks after the hospital called, I broke down and created a fake social media account just to check on my family. What I found made my stomach drop. Victoria had posted a photo from the hospital. Mom was in a bed, hooked up to machines, looking smaller and frilier than I'd ever seen her. The caption read, "Please pray for our mom. She's fighting so hard, but she keeps asking for someone who isn't here." The comments were full of people asking where I was, why I wasn't with my family during this difficult time. Victoria's friends, old neighbors, family friends, all wondering what kind of daughter abandons her mother in the hospital. I scrolled through more posts. Marcus had shared a photo of him, Victoria, and Dad in the hospital waiting room, looking exhausted and scared. Day 12 in the ICU. Still hoping for a miracle. Day 12. She'd been in the hospital for 2 weeks and I'd ignored their calls. I closed the laptop and sat in my living room staring out at the ocean. For the first time since I'd left Portland, I felt that familiar weight settling on my chest. Guilt. Responsibility. The crushing need to fix everything. But I'd tried to fix everything my whole life, and where had it gotten me? Sitting at a Christmas dinner where my own mother told me she wished I'd never been born. Well, I'd made my choice. I'd given them what they wanted. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Sarah, this is Jennifer, Marcus's wife. I got your new number from your old landlord. I'm sorry to text you like this, but your mom is dying. She's been unconscious for 3 days, but before that all she talked about was finding you. She said she had something important to tell you. I know things were complicated with your family, but she's your mother. Please consider coming home. I stared at the message for a long time. Jennifer had always been kind to me even when the rest of the family wasn't. She was the one who'd included me in conversations, who'd asked about my work, who'd actually listened when I spoke. But even Jennifer didn't know the whole truth about what had happened at Christmas dinner. She thought things were just complicated. I typed back, I'm sorry to hear about Mom's condition, but she made it very clear that she didn't want me in her life. I'm respecting her wishes. Jennifer's response came quickly. Sarah, whatever happened, she regrets it. She's been crying for you every day since Christmas. Please don't let pride keep you from saying goodbye. Pride. He thought this was about pride. I turned off my phone and went to bed. The next morning my phone was buzzing with another unknown number. This time I didn't recognize the voice on the voicemail. Ms. Bennett, this is Dr. Patricia Williams from Cape Fear Regional. I'm calling regarding Linda Morrison. I understand you're estranged from your family, but I need you to know that your mother has been asking for you constantly. She's not going to make it much longer, and she seems to have something urgent she needs to tell you. I've seen a lot of families in my 20 years of practice, and I've never seen someone fight this hard to stay alive just to talk to someone. I don't know what happened between you, but she loves you. Please consider coming to see her. I sat at my kitchen table holding the phone, feeling like I was being torn in half. Half of me wanted to race to the airport, fly to Portland, and be at Mom's bedside. The daughter who'd spent 28 years trying to earn her love. But the other half, the half that had finally learned to protect herself, remembered the look in Mom's eyes when she'd said those words. The relief on everyone's faces when I'd finally left. If I went back now, if I saved the day and held her hand and forgave everything, what would that teach them? That they could treat me however they wanted because I'd always come running back? No. I'd spent my whole life being the one who gave in, who apologized, who made things right. For once they could face the consequences of their choices. I deleted the voicemail and went to work on Mrs. Patterson's books. But I couldn't concentrate. Every time I tried to focus on numbers, I heard Dr. Williams saying, she loves you. Did she though? Or did she just need something from me like always? That afternoon Victoria called from her own phone. Sarah, I know you're getting these messages. I know you're out there somewhere. Please just listen. Her voice was hoarse from crying. Mom's dying and it's my fault. What I said about the wedding, about not inviting you, it broke her heart. She said she'd been holding in her anger for so long that when you offered to help with the wedding, something just snapped. She didn't mean what she said at Christmas. She's been trying to find you ever since. I almost hung up, but something in Victoria's voice stopped me. The thing is, Victoria continued, we found her diary. From when we were kids. She wrote about you every day, Sarah. About how proud she was of you, how worried she was that you felt left out, how hard she tried to make sure you felt loved. She was always afraid that Marcus and I overshadowed you, that you felt like you didn't belong. She said she saw too much of herself in you and it scared her. My hands were shaking. She was the youngest in her family too, Victoria went on. Did you know that? She was the one who never quite fit in, who felt like she had to work twice as hard for half the attention. She said she'd sworn she'd never make her own kids feel that way, but somehow she did it anyway. She's been carrying that guilt for years. Victoria took a shaky breath. What she said at Christmas, she told Dad later that night, that it was like hearing her own mother's voice coming out of her mouth. Her mom used to say horrible things when she drank. Mom called you the next morning to apologize, but your phone was disconnected. Then she found out you'd moved and she just broke down. I was crying now, silent tears streaming down my face. Please, Sarah. I know we don't deserve your forgiveness. I know I don't. But she's dying and she just wants to tell you she's sorry. She wants to tell you how much she loves you. Don't let her die thinking you hate her. The message ended and I sat in my kitchen sobbing. Everything I thought I knew, everything I'd built my new life around was crumbling. But was Victoria telling the truth? Or was this just another manipulation, another way to get me to come running back and fix everything? I looked out at the ocean, at the peaceful life I'd built, and felt the old familiar tug of war in my chest. Stay and protect the peace I'd found, or go back and risk having my heart broken all over again. But this time it wasn't about them. It was about me. About the woman I wanted to be. Could I really live with myself if my mother died thinking I hated her? The answer I realized was no. I was on a plane to Portland within 6 hours. The hospital smelled like disinfectant and despair. I found my family in the ICU waiting room. Dad slumped in a chair looking like he'd aged 10 years. Marcus pacing by the windows. Victoria curled up in Jennifer's arms with her eyes red and swollen. They all looked up when I walked in. "Sarah," Dad whispered, standing up so fast he nearly fell over. Marcus just stared at me like I was a ghost. Victoria ran to me and threw her arms around my neck, sobbing. "He came. I can't believe you came. How is she?" I asked. Dr. Williams appeared at my elbow. "She's unconscious, but her vitals improved dramatically about an hour ago. Sometimes patients can sense when family arrives." She led me to Mom's room. The woman in the bed looked so small, so fragile. Nothing like the powerful, intimidating mother who dominated my childhood. I sat down next to her bed and took her hand. "Mom," I whispered. "I'm here." Her eyes fluttered open, unfocused at first, then landing on my face. "Sarah." Her voice was barely audible. "I'm here, Mom." Tears started flowing down her cheeks. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, baby. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean any of it." I squeezed her hand. "I know. I was drunk and I was angry, but not at you. Never at you. I was angry at myself. I was angry at my own mother for making me feel the way I made you feel." "Mom, you don't have to." "Yes, I do." She struggled to sit up a little. "I need you to know. I was so proud of you, Sarah. So proud. Your little accounting business. I bragged about it to everyone. Mrs. Henderson, the ladies at book club, everyone. I told them my daughter was an entrepreneur." I started crying. "You never told me that." "I should have. I should have told you every day. Instead, I let my own insecurities make me cruel to the one person who loved me unconditionally." She reached up with a trembling hand and touched my face. "You were never the problem, sweetheart. You were the solution. You were the one who took care of everyone, who remembered birthdays, who made sure we all stayed connected. When you left, everything fell apart." "What do you mean?" "Marcus and Jennifer almost got divorced. Victoria called off her engagement. Your father and I could barely speak to each other. The guilt was eating us alive. We destroyed our family because we were too proud to admit we were wrong." I looked back at the waiting room where my family was huddled together, all of them watching through the glass. "They love you too," Mom said, following my gaze. "Victoria's been planning to elope because she couldn't imagine getting married without you there. Marcus quit his job because he couldn't stop thinking about what he'd said to you. We fell apart without you, Sarah. We didn't realize how much we needed you until you were gone." For the first time in my life, I felt like my mother was really seeing me. Not as the problem child, not as the disappointment, but as the person I'd always been trying to be. "I love you, Mom," I whispered. "I love you too, baby. So much. More than I ever knew how to show you." She squeezed my hand with surprising strength. "Will you stay? Will you give us another chance?" I looked at this woman who'd given me life, who'd hurt me deeper than anyone else ever could, who was fighting to stay alive just to apologize to me. "I'll stay," I said. And for the first time since Christmas Eve, I felt like I was home. Mom recovered slowly over the next month. I moved back to Portland, not to my old apartment, but to a new place closer to the family I was learning to love again. Victoria postponed her wedding so we could plan it together. Marcus and I started having coffee every Sunday morning, just the two of us, rebuilding the relationship we'd lost. And Dad started calling me every evening just to ask about my day. It wasn't perfect. We all had years of hurt to work through, patterns to break, apologies to make. But for the first time in my life, I felt like I truly belonged in my own family. Sometimes the best gift isn't getting what you want. Sometimes it's learning that what you thought you wanted isn't what you needed at all. Christmas came again, and this time when Mom raised her glass for a toast, she looked directly at me and said, "The best gift is having our daughter home where she belongs." And this time I believed her.